After 49 seasons and all the experience, if you could go to that college kid who was shooting Olympic skeet and could give him one piece of shooting advice then.
You didn't tell me that question would be tough.
On the Flying Target podcast today, we chat to someone who is a GOAT, a greatest of all time kind of shooter. They come around every so often, a generational shooter, someone who is a marksman. He no longer competes at the world champs, but he shares his knowledge around the world. Todd Bender, thank you so much for making time to talk to me on the Flying Target podcast today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Todd, it took us a while to find a time because you are busier now than when you competed, I think. Coaching all around the world. We've been emailing this way. Then I get an email. You're in Ireland. Then you're in Australia. Then you're all over. I take it since you've retired, this is now how you are still managing to stay in the game and competing by sharing your knowledge.
Yeah, so now I'm coaching 12 months a year. I just got back yesterday, and I'm actually at home for 3 days. Quail season starts this weekend in South Georgia. So I'm going to go work the little bastards over. And then I'm off to Australia and New Zealand for the next 2 months with Tyler and John and Matt. So, Delta thinks I'm a great guy. I'm busy traveling, but I love what I do. So I get a great kick out of it. I told Snogs at the World Championships, hanging out a couple weeks ago, and I told someone, I competed for 49 seasons, and the first 50 years of my life, I tried to hit more targets than anybody else. Now that I'm retired and I'm coaching, I try to get you to do that for me. That's where my pleasure comes.
Yeah. Okay, but now this is why I really wanted to talk to you because, good shooters, there are plenty of good shooters, but the skill to be able to relate that information, you seem to have the secret sauce of how to make that happen because your shooters have gone on to achieve big things. How do you do it? Because sharing information and getting what's in your head and what you've already achieved across to somebody else, it's not easy.
I think there's a couple things. Number one is obviously communication skills. You've got to be able to get your points and thoughts across. I know some guys who are great shooters couldn't teach a rat to eat cheese. I mean, they have no communication skills. Also, some analytical thinking, some communication skills, and a lot of it's just experience. I mean, I've been doing it for so long, it kind of tests that. I know what works, I know what doesn't work as far as communicating and getting the points across. So I think it's all communication skills for sure, but having the experiences to implement that and understand it. I think that's what makes a good coach is, obviously has a certain level of skills and knowledge, but I think experience beats everything.
Yeah, because you can't buy it. You can't go out and...
No, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk a bit about some of that experience. In my research, more than 26 world titles across all of the gauges. You've won championships all over the world. What keeps the motivation going?
Well, I think, again, I was at the World Championships just a couple weeks ago, and it was a really enjoyable time for me because the 49 seasons that I competed, everything that I did, all my accomplishments, I kind of pushed it aside. That I wouldn't rest on that or even acknowledge that I did that because I wanted to keep getting better every day. I mean, that was my goal, is keep getting better, get better, and get better, and get better, and get better each and every day. So all the stuff that I did, all the accomplishments, some things probably never be done again. I didn't acknowledge that, and I pushed it to the side because I didn't want to rest on that. That, well, I've done this, I'm there. I never wanted to be there. I just wanted to get better and better and better and better. Now that's what was so great about the World Championships just a couple of weeks ago, that I was able to walk the grounds in San Antonio and say to myself, that was a pretty good career. But I never acknowledged that. I mean, for almost 50 years, I've pushed that aside. So I think that's where I was able to continue on for so long and maybe get better and better, because that was my goal, to get better and better and not just rest on what I've done. Okay, I won the World Championship now. There's no other place for me to go.
Yeah.
Well, bullshit. Let's do it again. Bullshit. Let's break a 550. Let's break 3 in a row. You can always get better.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
So when you finally decided to call it a day on competing in 2021, that's also for someone who'd been competing for 49 years, that's not a light decision that you take overnight. What kind of got you
No.
to that point?
Well, I was at the World Championships, I guess the year before, and of course, there's 50 fields in San Antonio, and I was driving down one of the fields, and I thought to myself that there's 7 open world titles at the World Shoot. The 12 gauge, 20 gauge, 28, the doubles, the high roll, and there's 7 open events. I've won every one of them at least 3 times. I won the high roll 5 times. And I was driving down the lower field to shoot an event. I was thinking, why the hell am I beating my head against the wall? What the hell are you doing, dude? I mean, so I finally got to a point. I actually shot great my last season. I think I led the nation in doubles and had one of my best years ever. Um, but what I came to is I can still compete at the level that I know I need to compete at. I know what it takes to do that. I'm not prepared to do that anymore. That was so much work. There's so many people, coming to this sport and they go, well, I want to be Todd Bender. I want to do what Todd Bender did. If they had a clue as to what I did to maintain that level, they go bass fishing. Screw that. That's too much work. So I wouldn't trade for anything. I love what I did. But after 49 seasons, I just got tired of it. I just, it was too much work. That's why now I love the coaching so much more because that's relaxing to me and helpful. Yeah.
So just on a final point of that, give me a little insight, a little taste of what a season would look like. And I'm talking here like training. How like in a year, how many cartridges or how many targets?
Well, because let's say the last 10 years of my career, I was coaching so much, I didn't get a chance to train as much as I wanted to. I'd be gone for like it was tough for us to get this date.
Yeah.
I was gone for 2 weeks, and I'd be home for a day, and I'd be gone for another 2 weeks coaching, because I'm a capitalist at core. So my training wasn't that much. Now back in the day, I probably shot twice a week, maybe 200 shells a day. And volume of training doesn't really mean that much. I mean, some people shoot a lot, like Kim Rhodey, been to 6 Olympics. I grew up with her in California. We're good friends. She shoots 20 rounds a day, 5, 6 days a week. Well, you have to hold a gun to my head to make me do that. I just couldn't do that. But when I talk about the amount of effort that it took, it was more mental effort. That my season would start in May. Well, I'd start shooting in January, and my brain would start churning in January. Okay, you get season coming in May. It's January. And I got to work on this and work on this and work on this. So I was always very focused on what I was going to do, what I was doing. So it is more the mental energy that was expended, not as much the training. Because after almost 50 seasons, I kind of knew what to do. That I didn't really need to train my physical part of my game. What I needed to train was my confidence and my mental part of the game. Make sure that I just stayed on top of things and did things correctly and thought correctly. That's where the mental energy went.
Well, with that in mind, is that where your connection with Lanny Basham came in? You and Lanny do a lot of work together.
We do.
Most guys will say that the clay target sports are mostly mental, but no one's willing to train the mental side.
Absolutely. Well, so that I've worked with Lanny for the last 17 years. He kind of changed my life. Maybe a better shooter, but maybe a better coach too. And one of the things we do 4-day seminars together. And he's like my best friend now. He's an amazing guy. But one of the things that we start out with our 4-day seminar, one of the slides is you ask people, how much of your sport do you think is mental? Well, in shotgun sports or skeet, my sport, the average number, it's always going to be a high number, and the average number comes out to only 90%. Okay, everyone agrees that 90% of the sport's mental. And then you look at them and go, what percentage of your training do you devote to mental game? And they'll say 0 because they really don't have a direction and have a blueprint to go. Well, that's what Bastion gave me. I kind of had a system that wasn't really good. Well, I'm not going to say it wasn't good. I was top of the game. But he streamlined. He made it more efficient. So he got me to understand exactly what was happening. Made my game more efficient and made me a better shooter and a better coach. And now I'm able to pass that on to my students. So my relationship with him, again, the last 17 years has been just phenomenal.
For me, this is where the champions are made. And in 49 seasons of competing, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't all sunshine and roses and palm beaches. You know, like
Nope.
everybody, there's ups and downs, and there's a mortgage, and there's car payments, and whatever life throws at you, and you still manage to win. Is it compartmentalization, or do you just learn how to deal with those things better than the next guy?
That's a really good question. You know, I'm sure you know the name Wayne Mays,
Yeah.
my best friend, and we shot together for 30 years. And he had that ability to turn it on and turn it off, just amazing. Um, I don't know if I could compartmentalize. I probably could, but not to his level. Uh, but I tell you, one of the reasons I was so good, and both him and me, you know, when we went to the tournament, we were at work. It was our job. Where most people's recreational, and I had a mortgage payment coming up. So that's what I had chosen how I make my money. I need to do that and make my money. I did that. So life's around. I was able to dodge a lot of that just because I was so focused on what I was doing. But you know, no matter what your focus in life is, with relationships or family or whatever, uh, obviously there's still the financial burden. If you need a place to live and you need to eat, you got to have those financial responsibilities. But Wayne and I just got to a point like this is what we do, and we're not here to screw off. And if I don't break this last 100, I don't make my mortgage payment next week. We're going to bear down. With a bit of pressure. Now you say, well, that's putting a lot of pressure on yourself. Not really. In fact, Wayne Mays, well, I can talk about him for hours. Um, I mean, we're at the in Savannah at the World Championships years ago, and the local newspaper was doing an article. The United States put them on dust, you know, top two guys in the game. So one of the guys, the newspaper reporter, looked at Wayne and said, "You know, you guys are the top two guys in the sport. You're expected to win." He said, the pressure on you guys must be unbelievable this week. And Wayne Major looked at that reporter and says, I don't put pressure on myself. I put it on the other guys. So that was his mindset, that he wasn't going to make it tougher on himself. He was going to make it tougher on everybody else. And just he had this champion's mindset of thinking positive and doing the right things. He taught me a lot. I got kind of stuck into that vortex of with his champion's mindset. Again, we shot for 30 years. So, you know, that really is the difference in most top shooters, not shooters, competitors. The champions, you know, if you look at me, I don't have any great physical attributes. I have good eyesight, but I'm not superhuman. And you look at the top guy in every sport. Yes, in football and baseball, these guys may have some physical things that no one else has, but basically they're human. Uh, the great separator from all the champions in every sport is they have a different mindset. They think different, and that's what makes them better because they really I have the same equipment. I don't even better equipment than anybody else does. I don't have any better ammunition. I'm not physically any better than anybody else is. Although my eyesight's good. It's that champion's mindset that's the great separator.
Incredible. So we've had some success in the skeet world with South Africans going over and winning, but you've also had a trip out to South Africa. I'd like to just
I love it. Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your trip, when it was, what did you got up to?
Well, so I worked. I was there for 3 weeks. I guess it was like 15 years ago. And I was in Cape Town for maybe a week. I was in Durban for a week. Some of the guys that I got hooked up with took me to Bloemfontein, and we shot pigeons for a couple days,
Oh, yeah.
which was a highlight of the trip. I loved my trip to South Africa, and I guess I really like the East Coast. I like Durban. We stay on the coast, and I just had a wonderful time there, and it was a great trip. And I'm very excited to see more South Africans coming to San Antonio for the World Championship. So that's a great thing. I guess things are going well over there. The sport's growing or keeping its own. Would that be accurate?
It's a small sport, but yes, it is growing and is incrementally. And
Good.
because we're starting to have success, and because of things like this, where the digital world has brought us closer, you know,
Sure.
it's not completely out of touch anymore. You can You know, you can go online, you can buy your DVDs, you can listen to your CDs, you could book a trip
Sure.
and go. So yes, it's getting better. And like I say, we've had a few world champions, so we're very, very proud of them. And yeah, things like this just keep the fire burning. And the more good stories we can have about shooting, I think the better for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's happening. I'm going to next week. I'm off to Australia, New Zealand for 2 months, and I've been making that trip for about 17 years. And I don't know that it's growing, but the great thing about me in New Zealand is that they're kind of where we were in the United States back in the 70s as
Yeah.
far as the sport. So they're in a growth period of getting better equipment and getting better shooters and experiencing the scores that you come to the United States. We're as far as American ski, we're kind of light years ahead of everybody else to what's going on here. So it's why I've been very well received in New Zealand because they're kind of in a growth point of the sport. And there's not a lot of information. And my guess is kind of same thing in South Africa, same thing in Australia. So I'm very fortunate in what I do, and that there's places like that which are wonderful. By the way, I love my trip to New Zealand. I love my trip to South Africa. I'm really getting to Australia. Actually, going to Thailand in the middle of this trip for a couple days. I've got a guy who came to Dallas for Bender Bashki last month, and he's a Thailand national champion, international ski. And he's got his sights set on LA in 28 for the Olympics. So I'm shooting over from New Zealand. I'm shooting over to Thailand uh, at some point next month when I have a bit of a break. Yeah, I'm keeping bouncing around.
American skeet, obviously, you can start gun up, where Olympic skeet, you start from the gun out of the shoulder, and you coach in
Right.
both disciplines.
Yeah. Well, I don't coach both disciplines. When I was in college, I was on the U.S. team for international in '79 and '81, and went to World Championships with the U.S. shooting team. But I'm glad I gravitated back toward American ski. That sport is so small. I couldn't have made a living doing it. And it's just American ski is more fun. It's more social. So I really don't call myself a coach. And this guy came from Bangkok, flew to the United States to go through bachelor's 4-day course with me. And he sent me an email ahead of time and said, I'm an international shooter. And I said, look, I'm not going to put myself out there as an international shooter. Or an international coach. He said, it's been 40 years since I've done that, right? But we had a great 4 days together. There's obviously a lot of similarities. Yes, the targets are faster. I know a lot about gun mount from what I've learned in shooting international, but also my work in England, coaching in England. I've learned a lot about gun mount. So I was able to help him tremendously. He's shooting great. I'm very much looking forward to going in about 3 weeks and seeing how he's doing. So I don't put myself out there as an international coach because I'm not. But I got to tell you, given my experience and knowledge and what I do, I'm probably better than most of them out
You understood
there. Yeah,
early on in your career that this was where the differentiator was, and you made yourself mentally the best in the world.
yeah, yeah. And visually, yes, the charge are faster, but how you control the eyes, what you're doing with the brain, and even physically, as far as form. Yes, there's a gun mount involved, but there's an awful lot of similarities. So I've been able to bullshit my way through it and look like I know what I'm talking about.
So you mentioned you enjoyed some pigeon shooting in South Africa, and you're about to hit some quails up in your side. I
Yeah,
take it hunting and wing shooting are big on your ways to relax.
yeah, absolutely. I sucked birds all my life. Started off with my dad. I lived in New Orleans, Louisiana for 15 years on the Gulf of now the Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico, and I shot a lifetime worth of ducks down there. And now I don't get to shoot birds as much. We go to South America every year. I'm going to Uruguay twice this year. So bird shooting is just given my skill set and shooting a shotgun. It's something I very much enjoy. It's very relaxing because no one's counting when I'm hit when I hit, which is awesome. No one gives me shit when I miss, which is awesome. So it's just an outlet for what I do, and I really get a great kick out of it. And it's been 7 months since quail season been closed. It opens up this weekend, So I'm very excited, I purposely got a hunt in on opening weekend just before I go to New Zealand and Australia for 2 months. So I get my fix. Then I'll come back in the spring and I'll have probably 4 or 5 more hunts. But yeah, that's how I get my kicks now.
After 49 seasons and all the experience, if you could go to that college kid who was shooting Olympic skeet 79, 80, 81, and could give him one piece of shooting advice then that you have now, what would it be?
You didn't tell me the question would be tough. Yeah. I would say just stay the course. Follow your passion, do what you want to do. That's what I did. So I followed my passion, what I wanted to do. So I think you'll be successful in life in anything you have a passion to do. But as far as shooting, just keep your nose to the grindstone and keep working. Like I said, I turned my back on all my accomplishments. I just try to get a little bit better each day. I want to be a little bit better on Thursday than I was on Tuesday, and be a little bit better this week than I was last week. So just keep the nose to the grindstone. Obviously, searching out good information, find people who know what the hell's going on, but then putting the effort in. No one just snaps their fingers and it becomes great. It's the amount of work they put in. But if you enjoy what you're doing, if you enjoy the work, oh, you got it made, don't you?
Exactly right. And with that in mind, I'm going to be putting all of Todd's details into the description for Todd Bender Shooting Systems. You'll be able to find his DVDs, his CDs. You could book a lesson. It'll all be available in the description. Todd Bender, all the best to your trip to Australia and New Zealand. Thank you so much for making time. And I look forward to chatting to you again in 2026.
Thank you for having me, my friend.